On this episode of What's Up with Wendy, it's time to rock your next vacation with the ultimate rocker-chic. Kelly Rizzo Saget is joining me, and she is the wife of Full House and Fuller House star Bob Saget, and we're going to be talking everything, travel, and so much more. You won't want to miss this episode of What's Up with Wendy. My guest today, she is the host of the award-winning entertainment series Eat, Travel, Rock TV, and we are talking rock-solid travel tips, and so much more. She is also the wife of Full House star Bob Saget. Welcome to my show, Kelly Rizzo.
Well, thanks for having me, Wendy.
Well, thank you for being here. I just want to put this out there. You could tell your husband that I've had everyone from Full House on except for him.
Well, we have to change that.
I know. So could you let him know?
Absolutely. He will not like to know that you've had Stamos on and not him.
Oh, Stamos has been on a few times.
Okay, so yeah, we'll figure that out.
Okay, we'll work that out after the fact. Anyway, nice to meet you and happy to have you and excited to hear all about this. First, tell us why you were named Travel Queen and how this all began for you, because I just find it so fascinating.
Well, thanks, first of all. It's been this very interesting evolution. Years ago, I just wanted to start a blog, and so I started eattravelrock.com because I wanted to bring my passions of food, travel, and music together. But then it started to evolve. Next thing I know, I'm interviewing rock stars and country music stars, and then next thing you know, the travel portion really kicked in, and I'm traveling all over the world filming Eat Travel Rock TV, Switzerland and Japan and Italy and, of course, all over the U.S. And so it's been never a dull moment. I'll give you that much.
Well, first of all, yay. And when you just said country stars, I'm a big country fan. So that just killed me right there. Thank you. What happened? So obviously it must have slowed down during the pandemic. You weren't going anywhere.
Yeah, it kind of, I haven't done any real trips aside from, let's say, visiting my family in Chicago since the pandemic started. Obviously things are picking back up again, which is great. But yeah, I focus more on the food aspect of the Eat Travel Rock over the past year.
I bet. Weren't we all focused on food though? It was like people were saying that you either gained the 15 or you lost the 15. Like it went one way or the other. So that you had.
Or both.
Right,
like a roller coaster, you gain and lose 10 different times.
Exactly. Okay, so when we plan a trip, where do we start? I have the hardest time planning trips.
Well, then this is going to help you out a lot because we want to start with the booking, of course, but here's a great tip to actually help you pay for travel. So Affirm lets you pay over time for travel that you book on sites like, Expedia and Vrbo, Priceline, Delta Vacations. And what's great about it is that there's no hidden fees, there's no late fees, and you can set up a payment schedule that works best for your budget. So it's really, really great.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, because I feel like they always get you with some of those, like you don't read the fine lines and then you find out after the fact.
I know. I mean, it's like here, it's like you can book a trip on Expedia, but instead of having to pay for it all at once, you can pay over time. So it really helps you, just be a little bit more flexible with your finances when it comes to travel.
And I think people are really going to start traveling now that things are opening up. So it's exciting. So
exactly.
What are some of the new entertainment and beach adventures for every single age?
Well, first, let's just go road trip. I mean, road trips are all the rage right now. I mean, obviously with the pandemic, everyone's just kind of hopping in their car and going somewhere. But you want to make sure that you're doing it as safe as possible. And the Next Base 322 GW dash cam and rear view camera system is amazing. It's like the ultimate road trip companion because it's got all these safety features like GPS, emergency SOS, Wi-Fi, and more. But then, it's not just about safety. I mean, it helps you capture life's little precious moments that you typically wouldn't think of capturing while you're on the road. For instance, let's say there's a gorgeous sunset or a beautiful landscape that you can't really record because you're driving, or somebody in the back seat says something hilarious and you're like, oh man, I wish I would have been able to record that. Well, now you can.
That's pretty cool. Road trips too. I bet a lot more people are doing road trips right now.
Right, and then being able to kind of kick that road trip up to the next level, let's turn it into an RV trip. I mean, those are even all the rage now too. And that's why I love outdoorsy.com because they're the most trusted online RV rental marketplace on the planet. And, no matter like what type of traveler you are or what type of trip you're planning, they have something to fit every budget. And me personally, and maybe you've seen those Airstream trailers, like how cool do those look? I mean, let's talk about Instagram worthy, so that's definitely a big trend in vacations right now is, a really cool RV or a trailer and traveling all around and getting those great shots too.
So much fun. It's a new adventure for all of us, right? Because so much has changed with travel, with, I'm sure, the hotels. And I recently just flew to Florida to visit my family. And it was like, I couldn't believe how different the airport was and the airplane was. Everything was so clean. And so there's, I guess, good things that came out of this, right?
Exactly, and that's one thing, like when I'm booking a hotel, I always want to make sure, depending on which site you book it on, they'll usually have some sort of notification that shows you, it's like a little safety seal or something where they're, adhering to the highest standards and like cleanliness and safety, making sure there's like masks in all the public areas and social distancing and that they're cleaning all the rooms beforehand, and extra sterilization. So there's a lot of ways to make sure that you're, getting the cleanest hotel room possible.
And I love everything about that. What's your go-to travel tip?
I would say when I book a hotel, like for instance, tomorrow I'm going to Nashville actually, and when I want to stay in the heart of town, I want to stay where I can walk out my front door and everything is within, just fingertips distance, bars, restaurants, coffee shops. And I mean, number one, you're saving on transportation, but number two, you just feel like you're kind of in the pulse of the city. So that's always my travel tip.
I love that. So fun. You're living this wonderful grand life. It's so exciting. If you just tuned in, I'm talking to Kelly Rizzo. She is the host of the award-winning entertainment series Eat, Travel, Rock TV. I love the name. So what else can you share with us? Where are most people planning besides road trips? Are they planning to go to islands? Are they just planning to go get out and visit family wherever their family is?
I think right now you're right. That's kind of the first thing that everybody's doing, depending on how long they've been actually in quarantine. Some people are like, this is my first trip. I haven't seen my family in a year. So people are going to see their family a lot. In terms of islands, you have to be careful because there's not a ton of places right now that Americans can go, especially internationally. Like you can go to Hawaii with a negative test. There are some islands that you can go to in the Caribbean, but everything has different rules. Like you can go to the Cayman Islands, but it's a mandatory 2-week quarantine if you go there, which kind of takes the fun out of it.
Right. So you need to be on vacation. You need to be able to go away for a month to be able to deal with all this, right?
Bob was just there for 7 weeks filming a movie, and the first 2 weeks were full quarantine. He couldn't leave his hotel room. Otherwise, you literally go to jail for 3 months or something like that. It's like a very intense rule.
Yeah. So, I would be scared to go to an island right now.
Right.
And so how are they, a really good question that you just hit, something that you said just hit on me to talk about. By the way, tell Bob next time to come on my show. But anyway, and talk about the movie he's filming.
Of course.
So how are we going to find out, like when we travel, say I'm planning a trip to Greece, are they going to let us know what the rules are when we get there? Like, how are we going to find that out when we do book travel, wherever we book travel?
Well, there's a lot of different websites. Obviously, the State Department always has the most updated list of countries that are open to U.S. travelers. A lot of the travel sites like Condé Nast Traveler and Travel Leisure, they're always releasing. They have an updated website where it shows where Americans can travel. Also, airlines will also give you a great updated list as well because they need to make sure that they're not flying somebody to a country that they can't actually go to. So airlines, State Department, and different travel publications are really great resources.
And what about if it's domestic? Because when I went to Florida, nobody told me I had a quarantine or I didn't have to, or it was like, where are we going to find all this out when it's domestic?
Yeah, once again, the local, like if you even just go on Twitter and you look up the different state tourism boards, you can find it there, or like the state tourism board website. So if you went to like visitflorida.com, they'll always have that information on their website. But also, once again, the airlines will do a really good job with making sure that they tell you, like every airline has their own list of, like even on their homepage of like where you can travel.
You must be so excited that it's starting again, that you get to travel again
I
and the
am.
world's opening up again. And this is so exciting for
Exactly.
you. Well, thank you so
It
much for
is.
sharing all those
Yeah.
great tips. Come back anytime. Want to hear about all your adventures that you're on. I'd love to talk more at another time.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Any last minute tips, Kelly, you want to give us?
I would say just visit tipsontv.com for more of what we were talking about and check out my Instagram at Eat Travel Rock.
Well, you got it. Thanks so much.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. As the CEO of Pure Romance, my guest today guided the company's growth from $1 million to more than $350 million a year, creating the world's largest in-home virtual party company. You won't want to miss it. He's the author of The Secret Is You, How I Empowered 250,000 Women to Find Their Passion and Change Their Lives. CEO of Pure Romance, Chris Cicchinelli is joining me, and you will not want to miss this, I promise, this episode of What's Up with Wendy's podcast. Up next. A business success story that taps into the passion of 250,000 women and helps them achieve their dream is an amazing and almost sounds too good to be true. But this is the inspirational story behind the success of Pure Romance and Chris Cicchinelli, who has written a new book called The Secret Is You, a must-read book. Thank you and welcome to this episode of What's Up with Wendy, Chris.
Thanks, Wendy. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Okay, I just have to say, empowering 250,000 women to find their passion, change their lives. I'm all in. Tell us all about it. But I want to start. I want us to take us back to your 24-year-old self, who got a call from your mom about wanting to help her, transform her business, Pure Romance. Take us back there before we get into your amazing book, which, by the way, I couldn't put down.
And Wendy, by the way, I'm going after 250 million to power, so I appreciate that. But 250,000, right? And I remember that call like it was yesterday when my mom called me. I had no desire to come back and work inside the family business, right? That was not anything I wanted to do. I was on my path down in Atlanta, Georgia, working for a publicly traded company down there when my mom called and said, hey, I have an idea. I want you to come back and I want you to help me scale my business. And I sat back. Now, our business is in wellness, it's beauty, and also intimacy products, right? So we do online and in-home parties, right? So this is something that I had no desire to do because I was like, oh my gosh, I'll never get a job anywhere in the world. And so she called, she asked me to come back, and I remember us sitting back, and I took the job with her because I was like, all right, I'll be here for like a couple of months, and then I'll help her put a plan together, and then I'll go get my, go to the career, which I was going to start having 6 months in St. Louis and 6 months in Italy. That was going to be the job I was actually going to take before I worked with my mom, which sounds really good. But I will tell you, it was amazing to be able to come back. I sat down with my mom, and I remember her and I having the conversation. Now, she said, look, I'm going to be in charge of product. I'm going to be in charge of, training. I need you to be in charge of strategy, growth, and where are we going? And that was really a really great divide because we had both two areas that we needed to concentrate in on. And I remember us, for 3 years, we would go in a U-Haul going from city to city to city. Like, I can't make this up. Like, I spent 3 years of my life 6 feet away from my mother in a U-Haul going and talking about our business and going from city to city. I mean, we went from $1 million to over $350 million in our time together. And I will tell you, I've learned so much from her. I've learned so much from all of the women, which if you read, when you read the book, you'll see some of these women that have just truly embraced The Secret Is You. They've truly embraced that they are in charge of their own life. Where are they going? I love the fact of being able to work with women entrepreneurs because I got to be able to work with the most amazing one, which was my mother in the beginning, and to be able to take those stories and take the growth that we've seen. It's been fantastic.
It's been amazing. I can imagine when I was reading the book and I was reading obviously your bio and I said, wow, so your mom called you and said, and you're like, do people really know what explain Pure Romance though. So it's like, really? I'm going to do that? You're like you said, will I ever work again? Right?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't mainstream like it, it's getting more and more mainstream when people are talking about, relationship enhancement products. That's basically when you look at the business, I will tell you what our consultants do are they come in and they're almost like the Pinterest for your love life. I don't think people are, forward thinking when it comes to the relationship. You do date night when there's an issue. You do a staycation when there's a problem. Instead, what our consultants are talking about is like, look, add this to your routine, add this to your date night. We are like the Pinterest for your love life.